Hey everyone, Duke here, and today we're taking a first look at the new artifact mods for Witch Queen and Season of the Risen. This season's artifact is called the Synaptic Spear and will be received after doing the first story mission during the campaign. So Anti-Barrier has Scout and Bows. So Anti-Barrier is definitely in a good place. Overload has, again, auto rifles and SMGs. They said that they fixed these and made them a little better, but that's definitely not Overload Bow from last season. So we'll have to see how that works out. Unstoppable, we've got Hand Cannon and Pulse Rifle, both solid options. Those should be not too bad. We've got Glaive Dexterity, so we'll have to kind of see how the Glaives work. That'll be nice for Glaives. Rocket Launcher Scavenger only costing 1, so nice for rockets for sure. Psionic Forging 1. Increases the duration of the Psycho Hack origin trait and the effect of the Suro Synergy origin trait. That Psycho Hack origin trait actually looks really interesting. So this could be, for only 1 energy cost, it's in your helmet, so that'll be instead of ammo finders. So that might be a little sauce. Or actually, no, it'll be in your final slot though, right? Because that's a seasonal mod. So that should be with these, I assume? Or is it going to be with these? I guess that's where having the Artifice armor for sure could come into play, because that has its own slot. I don't know I think it's going to be in these 2 slots, because it said helmet armor mod, I think, not a combat style mod. So Artifice armor for that only costing 1, and if that Psycho Hack mod or origin trait is actually good, and depending on like what it can roll on, that seems kind of interesting. The Suro Synergy origin trait, I'm not sure what that is, but interesting. Definitely an interesting mod here. We got the Melee Well Maker. Powered melee combatant final blows spawn elemental wells matching your subclass energy type. Again, elemental wells, especially with the change they made to Protective Light and the Void one that I need to look into. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting. Especially if you end up running Void, if you powered melee kills, and if you do the Warlock Void that has like the ranged melee, could be interesting. This is another good way to make some wells. It only costs 1. That's always nice. Like low energy cost stuff is definitely something I'm looking into this season, especially for anyone that's running Artifice armor, because it's gonna start costing your energy versus like slots. So this is gonna be interesting as well. Hand cannon targeting, PvP, no big deal. Glaive Scavenger costs 1. That'll be nice if we use Glaives for sure. Thermo Shock Plating reduces incoming solar damage from combatants and arc in 1. Okay. That's cracked. That's like super cracked. Because normally, you can do either solar or you can do arc. And you can only do it if it's on a solar chest piece or on an arc chest piece. And it costs 1. You can run this, it costs 2, still fine, but you can do solar and arc at the same time. Like, that's cracked. This is cracked. This is, like, super duper cracked. I'm assuming you can run 2 of these, potentially 2, and get, like, they'll both be, it'll be 25% on solar, 25% on arc like they are normally. If you do 1, and then 40% if you run 2 for each, that's crazy. That's strong. That's, like, super strong. At least if there's solar and arc damage in the same encounters, which probably, like, and technically couldn't you run a void chest piece, run 1 void resist, and then run this, and then you have void, solar, and arc damage resist all at once? Like, if that's insane. I mean, obviously there is more stasis that's been coming into play a little bit. We'll have to see how much there actually is when as we run through the campaign more in the raid and all the new stuff, but like, that's crazy. Technically, if there's a lot of stasis, you could just run a stasis chest piece and do stasis resist and solar resist and arc resist. That's insane. Like, it's 2 energy? This is crazy. This is insane. This is super crazy. But yeah, that's my first hype mod out of this so far. That's Pog. Like, yeah, we lost Protective Light, but this is, damn, that's good. Auto rifle loader, simple stuff there. Just increase the reload speed of autos, 1 energy. Font of Might, picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy, grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage. So this is a mod that already exists, but now it costs 1. So again, if Elemental Wells start really, really pushing their way into gameplay with Protective Light again being nerfed, I like it. Like anything that's one energy cost and has some strength here is very beneficial, I feel like, this season. Again, stuff has gotten a little bit more increase with like ammo finders and stuff like that, and scavengers costing more. So one energy cost, strong mod, like, can see that. Now we've got Psionic Forging 2 to go with Psionic Forging 1. This increases different origin traits, though. We've got increase the duration of the land tank origin trait and the effect of the Hake Breach armaments origin trait. So definitely origin traits are being kind of pushed into the limelight here. That is, I'm intrigued to see what some of these do and kind of, again, to see what the origin traits they are themselves and then see how long the increase is for some of this stuff. But again, another one energy cost mod that sounds like it could be pretty strong. Unstoppable Glaive. So Glaives do have Unstoppable. 5 energy is reasonable. We had, what, Fusions was, what, 6? And Unstop, grenade launcher the season before was 7. So 5 for Glaive. They're definitely trying to kind of push that in there. It seems interesting. Oh. Defeating a Lucent Hive Lightbearer or champion with your finisher spawns heavy ammo for you and your allies. So this is... They had this mod before. It didn't include Lucent Hive, obviously, but this is the heavy finisher mod from 2 or 3 seasons ago. This is Pog. This is huge. This is huge. This is super huge. 6 energy is expensive, but spawning heavy on champions or Lucent Hive Lightbearers, we don't know how many Lucent Hive Lightbearers are going to be, but we know in like GMs and stuff, champions, huge. Super huge. Super duper huge. Suppressing Glaive. Damaging combatants with your Glaive suppresses them, preventing them from using abilities for a short time. So that's interesting. Again, with Lucent Hive having supers and being guardians, this could be very interesting running Glaive. And you can actually run both of these together, which is nice. They're both class item mods. This one costs 6, this one costs 4. So if you're going to run a Glaive, you're probably going to be, you know, up in people's faces, and you can get the suppress on, you know, on some Lucent Hive or whatever else. I actually don't know if this works with, like, champion, like, stuns. Like, does that make them not be able to, like, heal and stuff? For, like, or, like, put up their shield if it's, like, an anti-barrier or things like that? I assume it doesn't, like, stun them, like, for an overload or unstoppable. But I'm not sure how the suppression itself works on champions. But, again, this combo seems kind of cool. Overload grenades, we got Void Overload grenades back. That's going to be nice, especially if the Overload SMGs and autos are a little sus. So we've got another way to get Overload here. Again, 1 energy, super nice. You do have to run Void specifically for it, but that's nice. The only thing with Void, or not Void even specifically, but Grenade Overload, is a lot of Overloads teleport, and it can be reasonably easy to potentially miss the grenade, but could be interesting. Should be all right. Solar melee abilities stun unshielded champions for Inferno Whip. This one we've had a couple times. Never very intriguing to me. Like, I guess if you run like the melee, like the ranged melees of a subclass, I think all 3 technically have ranged melees for Titans, Hunters, and Warlocks, but I'm probably never really gonna see myself running this. There's another option for Unstop though. Now the last row is usually interesting. I haven't seen any of these yet. It's going to be very intriguing. Let's see what we got here. Usually this has something. So I'm very excited to see what that 7 energy thing is. Like I want to know. Like, is that like what's going on with that? We'll have to see here though. We got Suppression Mastery. Suppression effects you create have increased duration. So that's also class item. But you could compare, or you could combine Suppressing Glaive with Suppression Mastery. Wouldn't be able to run Lucent Finisher then, but that's interesting. And we'll have to see how many and what kind of suppression effects we get. Obviously, we have suppression grenades. But we'll have to see how strong suppression is. But this is a intriguing mod. We'll also see what increased duration means as well. We'll go with that. Devouring Depths. Casting your Void Super while you're critically wounded or benefiting from Devour increases your damage with that super. Interesting. Interesting. So Void Supers. Probably just Nova Bomb. No other Void Super really does damage. Like, you don't really think about them as damage. So Nova Bomb, though, could be interesting. Other class items. There's a lot of class item mods, so That's the only thing here is not even necessarily energy cost, because 3 isn't too terrible. But you got to start thinking about how many slots you can put these mods in. But I could see it potentially. We'll have to see how much of an increase you get, but we'll see. Volatile Flow. Picking up a Void Elemental Well grants your Void weapons volatile rounds. I actually don't know what volatile does. I think that makes them like explode, if I remember correctly, they mentioned. Like if you get volatile rounds on an enemy and then you like either shoot them or kill them, I believe it's supposed to make them explode. And so that's kind of cool. It's an Elemental Well mod. It costs 2. We can put it anywhere. Interesting. Interesting. Especially if Void Elemental Well... Like, Void is kind of the class of the season, obviously. So, got some potential here. Energy Vampirism. Gain energy for your least charged ability when you suppress a target. Another kind of combine with Suppression. So, interesting here. You could go Suppression Glaive, you could go Suppression Mastery, and you could go Suppression Vampirism. 10 energy. You'd have to use the Artifice armor, because you need 3 slots. You need to put like 2 here and then the final slot here, but you could do that. So that's actually super intriguing. Depends again how much energy are you actually getting from this, but okay, interesting combo. And Suppressive Darkness. Okay. Whenever you suppress a combatant, you also weaken them, causing them to take additional damage. Okay, so it's oppressive darkness, but now we got suppressive darkness. I'm like, as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, okay. So that's, as I think I said during this one, I'll be like, oh, it'll be interesting to see how much suppression like affects the season, blah blah blah, like something like that. We scroll down here. This is big. This is our breach and clear. This is our particle deconstruction of the season. They said they weren't going to do it like on weapons. This is definitely going to be less uptime than particle deconstruction for sure. Even breach and clear or the sniper, well, not necessarily sniper, but long range one from before. But again, suppression on a glaive. How does the glaive work? Or was the suppression glaive? So literally just damaging with a glaive at all, according to this, gives you this. If you, oh wait, no, you can't do that. Like you specifically cannot do that. That was smart. That was smart of them, because this costs 4 and this costs 7, so that's 11. I quick maths, but you cannot combine those, so that's a little sad. Again, if you have suppression grenades, so it's basically oppressive darkness, kind of. So it's like oppressive darkness. If you use suppression grenades specifically, you could combine it with this to get an increased duration, and then it's oppressive darkness, kinda. Like it's just more specific. It's still on void, because I think suppression grenades are only on void unless they did crazy change. Well, they didn't change anything other than void, so it has to be void. Okay. So yeah, oppressive darkness is kind of back, basically. It seems legit. Seems legit. But that's cool. Like there's a lot of cool artifacts in here. We got a lot of new ones. Again, this mod, where did it go? Thermoshock plating. Like this is just free for me. Like this is for sure unlocking this instantaneously, putting it on, and like that's crazy. Having Solar and Arc in the same one. Like, oh, that's crazy to me. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this artifact. We got a lot of new things, definitely pushing suppression, pushing glaives, pushing void on some of these mods, and we'll have to see how the season goes.